Toastmaster Farhaz Farouk with the speech title Exactly the Same. Exactly the Same by Farhaz Farouk. Ladies and gentlemen.
My wife and I were walking along the banks of the great river Nile one day. The sun was shining at us brightly. A cool, calm, and comforting breeze blew across our face. The sound of the waves crashing into the river banks was strangely relaxing. The bright sun, soothing breeze, and crashing waves made my mind wander. I was thinking about this great river. It starts its life up at its source, pretty small, like how I am now. It rushes down the highland, picking up speed, water, and silt, reaches the plains, slows down, meanders along its path, divides itself at its delta, and flows into the sea. I asked my wife, Niro, what do you think about the life cycles of the other rivers of the world? And she told me, for us, they are exactly the same. Ladies and gentlemen, contest chair. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I went to an Indian school, and as part of the curriculum, I had to study Hindi. When I got to my mid teens, my parents decided that it was time that I reconnect with my roots, and they wanted to send me to Sri Lanka. I was actually looking forward to going back to Sri Lanka. After all, it was my country. I wanted to get to know it, get to know the people, learn the language, and hey, try to make some sense of what was cricket. When I got to Sri Lanka, I was lost. I didn't know the country, I didn't know the people, I didn't know a word of the local language. And to make matters worse, the only thing I learnt about cricket was that it was the name of an insect. In my neighborhood, there were some nasty kids. Each time I walked past, they used to crack jokes in the local language Sinhala at me and laugh. I didn't like them, and I'm sure they didn't like me. But there was the only way that I could get back at them was if I learnt the language and gave them back in style. So that's exactly what I did. I started studying the Sinhala language, starting with the alphabets. And when I did that, they seemed strangely and scintillatingly similar to the Hindi alphabets that I was familiar with. They looked different because they used different script, but structurally and phonetically, they were exactly the same. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, as with learning any new language, I made sure I got my foundation strong. I learned all the bad words first. And with this new armory of eloquent vocabulary, I marched to meet my neighborhood nasties and I gave them a bellyful of eloquent Sinhala words that they have heard. They were shocked. I was impressed. Once this important business was taken care of, I got on with the hurly-burly of life in Sri Lanka. A few years after this, my grandmother fell gravely ill. She needed urgent surgery, and surgery means we need blood donors. We got blood donors from high and low. One day, when I got to the hospital and I scanned the queue of blood donors, I was shocked to see the naughty neighborhood nasties standing in the queue, the people I did not like. I took a little bit of time to collect myself. And then I walked up to one of them and I said, "You are here helping me?" And this gentleman told me one of the most amazing things I have heard in my life. He said, "Brother, we may have different skin, but if you cut through, open up and look inside, deep down inside, we are all exactly the same." The same young ruffian who I did not like queued up to donate blood that flowed in his veins to my grandmother. But in the same time, he donated a big dose of humanity that flowed from his entire body to me. Ladies and gentlemen, back at the river, I had asked my wife one more question. I had asked her, "Niro, what do you think about the life cycle of human beings?" And she told me, Faraz, they are exactly the same as the great rivers. I said, really? Kindly explain. And explain she did. She said, we start our lives in the wombs of our mothers small. We rush through our formative years, picking up education, friends, and habits. We reach the prime of our lives, slow down, and go on our selected path. We get to our delta and divide ourselves into race, religion, language, and nationality. But ultimately, we flow into the sea of humanity. John F. Kennedy has said, what unites us is far greater than what divides us. Fellow humans, the past few weeks, all of us, the entire world, has been fighting one common enemy, the coronavirus. This virus does not differentiate between any of its victims. If this virus considers all of us exactly the same, why cannot we? Friends, do not let skin, status, and situation divide us. Do not let our origins and background divide us. Do not let race, religion, language, and nationality divide us because deep down inside, all of us are exactly the same. Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you, Toastmaster Farhaz Farouk. Now we will have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark the ballots. Meanwhile, I would like to request the Sergeant at Arms to bring in the